Is evolution a fact, a theory, or just fake science?
Well, that depends on who you ask, doesn't it? If you ask a scientist, they will tell you that evolution is one of the greatest scientific theories of all time. If you were to ask somebody like you, Finding Truth, who has a video on YouTube called God Exists 5, does evolution qualify as a theory? I'm sure you do think it's fake, because it doesn't tally up with what you believe.
Go nuts on my nuts.
Evolution is one of the greatest theories in all of science. It sets out to explain how life began, specifically how the first simple forms of life give rise to the diversity we see today. So how can anybody, like this guy, whose moustache seems to have mysteriously fallen off, claim otherwise? Stick around and we'll find out. Tidy!
Judge whether evolution is actually a fact or a theory. We need first to understand what is the meaning of a fact and what is the meaning of a theory. In very simple words, a fact is like when you say an apple falls to the ground.
Okay. Now, I don't want to be pedantic, but that's actually a statement of fact. That is certainly not the definition of a fact. The definition of a fact is a thing that is known or can be proven to be true, like evolution.
It's an observation.
Yeah, so not the definition of a fact at all then.
A theory is like when somebody says, the apple is falling to the ground because there is a force that I'm going to call gravity, and it depends on the mass of the apple and the mass of the earth and the inverse square of the distance between them.
That's the cause, or the reason the apple fell. There's no theory involved. Now, for scientists and advocates of science, evolution is a fact. We know that life evolved with the same certainty that we know the Earth is spherical, and that gravity keeps us on it, and that flat earthers are probably the most annoying creatures crawling on it. Yet we are pretty certain.
So the power of theories is that we can use them to make predictions.
Well, yeah, we can, but it's a little more in-depth than that. What you were referring to is the everyday use of the word theory, which is that you've got a hunch or you have some idea that something is going to happen. But that's not how it works in science. In scientific terms, the word theory is used to describe an extensive explanation of an important feature of nature or the universe, supported by facts gathered over time. But you're right, theories do allow scientists to make predictions about what they think may happen.
Now, let's look at the claim of evolution. Of course, there are no observations that are repeatable. None of us has seen
God, and yet you still somehow believe in him?
A whale change to a cow.
Ah, fair enough. Well, I've not seen that either, to be honest with you. But what's your point?
None of us has seen a chimp change to a human being.
Yeah, we get it. You haven't seen a dog. These people drive me absolutely insane. Yeah, we get it. You've not seen a cat turn into a dog, but that's not how evolution works anyway. And the changes that do occur take millions of years to happen.
So evolutionists will reply to this that, okay, it needs so much time and there is the fossil record.
Correct. Fossils give us information about how plants and animals lived in the past. And some animals and plants are only known to us because of the fossil record. And by studying the fossil record, we can tell how long life has existed on Earth, and how different plants and animals have evolved and how they're related to each other.
This is really
not evidence at all.
So every paleontologist ever is wrong, and the Bible, because that's where this belief is coming from the Bible, which isn't a scientific textbook, is right.
But then let's see if the theory of evolution can really make predictions.
So if evolution can't make predictions, then it's not real. So how exactly is that going to work? Because none of us know what's coming. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow or the week after or the year after. That's just not how time works.
And one very easy prediction is us.
Well, isn't that an incredibly stupid thing to say? Why would we need to predict us? We're already here. And more to the point, we know exactly where we evolved from.
Can the theory of evolution predict human being existence? Now, the theory of evolution of species starts from the very first cell and says that life will gradually and very, very slowly evolve into more complex creatures, ending with the human being.
Well, I'm going to be completely honest here and say I must have missed that bit of evolution, the bit that says that evolution will end with man, because I'm pretty sure it won't, because that's the whole nature of evolution. Who knows if we'll still be here in 10,000 years? There could be a completely different version of us. We just don't know, because that's how evolution works.
It says that this process is totally blind and totally random and depends on completely unguided processes of nature, like mutations, and those mutations would generate different versions of the creature, and then the right version, which has a better chance of survival, would be picked by natural selection.
You know, I hate to say it, but for somebody who is an evolution denier, he seems to know an awful lot about evolution. Could it maybe just be that he doesn't like the idea of evolution because it's so devastating to the stories that he's read in the Bible and about the biblical version of how mankind began?
Now, we're going to make episodes on those claims, whether mutation and natural selection can actually do this work. But let's assume that this is okay and see if the observations that we see around us would be consistent with the predictions.
Again, a really stupid thing to say. You cannot observe something that takes millions of years to happen. But that being said, you cannot observe God, and you believe in him, so I really don't see why you have a problem believing in evolution. Actually, yes, I do. It's because it completely destroys everything you believe in when it comes to believing in God.
So let's ask this question. How come we have human beings?
Ooh, this is an awkward one. I'll try and keep it clean. Now, when a mommy and daddy love each other, they go to bed together and that's where babies come from. Ergo, that's where humans come from.
Why am I asking this question?
I don't know, it was bad enough I had to answer it. Your dad didn't have the chat with you?
Because human beings have those features that are unbelievably advanced versus their next most advanced creature. How come human beings have language? A great diversity of language. Language that has things like poetry, language that's not only spoken but written, language that transfers knowledge not only between people but across generations, language that's written on caves, on temples, and in books.
This is a tough one again. I didn't realize this was going to be like a quiz. Why have we got language, advanced features far beyond any of our closest ancestors? Why are we able to transfer that knowledge? If only there was something that had taken millions of years to happen to improve us over time. Hang on a second, there is! It's evolution! The things you're describing are all as a result of evolution. You idiot! Grow your mustache back, please. At least then you'll only sound stupid instead of looking it as well.
Since there is a very clear advantage for having language, how did only humans generated this feature?
You mean, why don't animals use sounds and gestures to communicate with each other and convey how they feel towards each other? Well, I just don't know. What do you think our own language is? Our own language is just an assortment of sounds that we use to form words. Okay, animals don't have vocabulary like us, but they certainly are capable of communicating with each other. You knobhead.
Humans are very new, according to the claims of paleontologists.
Depends what your definition of new is, really, doesn't it? If you're comparing it to the age of the Earth, then yeah, very new. But if you're comparing it to what young Earth creationists think, which is a couple of thousand years, then we're really old.
Another question. The most important things that makes a human distinct from a non-human
A what?
is this: the ability of humans to reason.
And some are clearly better at it than others, aren't they?
Human intellect. And it's very obvious that having this kind of intellect, intelligence,
Isn't always a guarantee that it'll be used to your own best advantage. Present company excluded, obviously.
has a very obvious survival advantage. So how come we don't have thinking sharks? How come we don't have thinking cats and dogs? At least one species of cats and dogs and sharks should be thinking as good as us, because other features that do have survival advantages, like being able to swim, like being able to fly, are common between so many species. We have flying animals, mammals, like bats. We have flying birds. We have flying insects. We even have flying fish.
The flying fish. Are you really expecting people to take you seriously after what you've just said? You just said, why don't cats and dogs and other animals think? And how come we have flying animals? Even flying fish? Well, by that logic, why can't human beings fly then? Is it maybe because we've evolved down different paths? How can anybody possibly be stupid enough to say animals don't think? I mean, come on, get a grip. Service dogs? I don't even need to go any further than that. If animals weren't capable of thought, then they would not be able to function. Admittedly, their thoughts are probably very different from ours, but to say animals can't think, I think, is really, really stupid.
How come we don't have any thinking creature except for human beings? And how come the next creature is so far away in terms of intellect versus humans?
Don't put yourself down, pal. There's plenty of other people on the internet that are as stupid, if not even more stupid than you. You've only got to look at flat earthers and anti-vaxxers for proof.
The theory predicts that there is gradual evolution, but it fails to explain how humans exist.
Oh. Well, it would seem that Mark Twain was in fact right. There is no amount of evidence that can persuade an idiot. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and goodbye.
Alright, watch this next. But before you do, make sure you subscribe by order of the Creaky Blinder.